Everyone, welcome to the February meeting of the Guthrie Convention Visitors Bureau Advisory Board meeting. Kaylin's here, Rebecca's here, Kristen's here. HC's the only one absent. We have a quorum. Public comments. Does anyone have any public comments that is not to an agenda item? Okay. We have meeting notes from the January meeting. Can I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, so we have a full agenda tonight of, this is our quarterly funding requests. Our intent tonight is, because this is an advisory board and still can be subject to city manager review, we are asking every group to keep their presentation to 10 minutes. We're going to go through all the presentations first and then let the board talk and let Justin explain what our budget is and then make the awards after that. And some of the awards still may not be made tonight, but we'll have a pretty good idea. Is that fair, Justin?
Sure, yes.
Is that a fair assessment?
We can make the board can make a recommendation at the end of the evening, and then because there's so many on the agenda tonight, whatever the board recommends, we'll have to take that to Leroy and to Kim just to make sure in terms of revenues and finance when the different applications could be written, that kind of thing.
Okay.
You know, revenues.
So, any questions? Everyone, okay? Well, 89ers, is anyone here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
I got a chair for you.
89ers is first up. This is my hot seat up front.
I don't think it's hot seat.
Well, the TV needs the hot seat.
Well, I'm Robert Dewar, and I'm the chairman of the 89er celebration. And this year is the 100th year of the American Legion centennial, that is celebrating centennial. And so this year the theme is celebrating 100 years of the American Legion and honoring our veterans. And we have the parade is, hopefully they have the 100 block of East Oklahoma open by then. It's going to be the same route as it has been in the past. We're going to have the vendors the same as we did last year on South First and North First, and the parade will start at noon. We've actually increased the float prize money this year. I'm trying to get more participation in the parade, and so we've got $4,000 this year for floats, and we've already got 4 more floats than we have had in the past. We got the National Commander of the American Legion going to be here also. We've got, Steve is, the mayor is the VIP chairman. He's already invited the governor and all the political people. We also have the VIPs, the parade marshals will be the Logan County veterans, plus we got American Legion members that also live in Edmond and Oklahoma City and surrounding areas, so any local American Legion member will be on our float. We're going to have a float just for the veterans. And this year we're going to kick off with the Chuck Wagon feed on Tuesday, and I got Byron Berline, before all this happened, to be the entertainment, and we're paying more for the entertainment this year because we're getting Byron Berline, and I'm trying to increase the participation on the Chuck Wagon feed. And the price will still be $12 for adults and $8 for children. So we're keeping the price the same. And then on Wednesday is when the vendors start setting up. And we have other organizations that we advertise that are having their events during our event. The Rotary Club is having their Gasser and Geesers, the car show. The Mercy and Logan County Health is having the bed and breakfast. The Kiwanis is having their tricycle race. And Lions Club is sponsoring the jazz choir at the post office. Those aren't anything that we're funding, but we help advertise for them. And when we go on the TV talk shows and stuff, we'll have some of them go with us too, so they can plug their event. But what we're asking for is not money for them, but for us. And we're asking for the same amount that we had last year. We're going to have more expenses, but we're planning on having better attendance and stuff. Hope it's not rained out for next year. And the rodeo is part of, we advertise his stuff too on the website and in our brochures and posters. And I'm open for any questions.
So you said your expenses are increasing this year from last year.
Yeah.
You're asking for the same amount, so the percentage of total funding is going to be smaller this year than previous years.
The total funding from you guys for us will be smaller?
No, well, the smaller percentage of your total expenses.
Oh, because we're also spending money. We have the OG&E plug-ins, the meters, and we're also spending, I think it's $1,150. I've already got the bid on it, to put more plug-ins in, because these other events also, the meter's in our name, the American Legion's name, and they have come to us in the past. All we do is let them plug in, and we just have them pay for the electric that they use, because over the years we spent quite a bit of money getting all those hookups and the meters and stuff. But we're adding more plug-ins, so we'll be able to have more electric for the vendors and any of the down the line that, like if, I don't know if the Christmas does any vendors along that route. But do they? Okay, so, you know, that'll be more available for them too, but all they have to do is just ask the American Legion to have it turned on where they can plug it in and agree to pay for the utility for the American Legion, because we're not going to charge them anything to use it. It's just something for the community.
How many plugs are currently there and how many are you having added?
We're having, I don't know how many more is there, I'd have to ask Tammy, but we're adding 5 more, which is, ended up being, it was $1,170 what the bid was, what we advertised it. It's expensive, so that's another expense that we are incurring, but it's not that I'm out after to really make money for the thing this year more than I am trying to improve. And because it's been an event, this is the 90th year that the American Legion has sponsored this, and I don't want it to see it get not very, there's some improvements that's got to be made. This may be the start, it's not going to be the finish, because there's a lot to be done down the line.
Any other? The only question I've got is, on your application, you do not have any of your income from your chuck wagon feed, your button numbers, any of that. So you do not.
You want our, well, it just said the expenses on there, so that's what
I believe in the guideline it asks for income also, or projected income. Usually we get a budget with it, don't we, Justin? Or is that just?
Income projection.
Is this a projected budget? So
Yeah, right now, and it's going to be higher because we've added these electric deals.
And then for for the committee's 3,000, what do we get as far as publicity publicity or logo or what do we?
Well, on the brochures that we give out, the posters, and any of the TV shows that we go on, we plug the Logan County Convention and Visitors Bureau that we're part of the funding, you're part of the funding. We don't have, there's some organizations that were on the brochure in the past that really weren't donating. And we were advertising people that were not donating, so that's changed.
Do you plug City of Guthrie because of all the in-kind services they give?
It's on there,
Okay.
they're sponsored,
Okay.
just like the Logan County Economic Development,
Okay.
but we don't plug like Channel 4, because we spent $2,000 with Channel 4, they didn't donate a dime, why would they be sponsored?
Any questions? Thank you, Mr. Dewar.
You got any other questions or something come up, let me know.
Well, I'm sure. Fireworks, Mr. Hoover.
Do I have you on camera?
Yes, you do.
I have to be on camera, you have to be on camera. That's right.
Front and center. How are you, sir?
I'm good.
Talk to us about fireworks at 4th of July.
It will be July the 6th. July 6th. Right? Everybody nice July 6th?
Sounds correct.
Glad we got the two people.
July
Yes,
6th,
the
yes.
sixth.
Same thing we did last year, basically.
Okay.
Just try to improve each year.
It's getting bigger.
Make it better.
And you guys currently shoot them from the Rock Stadium?
Uh-huh.
I guess my only question would be, considering the recent fire, if that will affect the location of Red Brick Nights at all, if that will also affect the fireworks location at all.
You can see the fireworks pretty much anywhere in town, so.
I talked to Leroy today and he said it's the same place
No matter what, okay.
no matter what. He said there might be some shifting around done, but the shooting in the rock's probably the safest place to shoot
Yeah.
for anyway. I'm surrounded by concrete, so.
And do you get an agreement with the school board then, or
Yes, that's what part of this money goes for, is to pay for insurance, because we're shooting on school
school
property.
property? Okay.
And as far as our advertisement done, last year was these flyers, which this is a bad copy, but we put these out everywhere downtown. They was in Enid, Ponca City, and I don't know how far south they actually made it. These shirts with everybody's logos on the back and banners that we hang up. That's pretty much our advertisement.
Okay.
We had 151 of these made up.
Do we have an attendance number at all from last year, do we know, or did we
Amazing.
estimate? I mean, are we talking 10, 15?
Somebody said 20.
I was thinking 20.
That's what I had heard, was 20,000.
I don't know, once I'm inside the stadium, I don't really get
I
the range.
understand.
It's not walkable.
Right, yeah.
No, it's,
Now,
That night is like squeeze.
No, watching
and a lot of those people come
Okay.
from out of town, so.
Oh, I know there's people from Illinois, California. Why they fly here to watch. I don't understand, but they
Because
do.
it's a nice long show.
So,
In terms of the show itself this year, are you planning anything different or the same, or what are you thinking?
It's always
I'm always
different.
gonna change it up to make it better.
I feel like I just insulted you by asking.
It's a challenge. The first year we did it, I came out and asked, I think I asked, Dr. Simpson if he liked it. Well, can you do better? There's a challenge right there. So, I'm gonna, every year it's hard to improve on what you do, but you can change stuff up. So, yeah, it'll be as good, if not better. The water slide will still be, now I can't improve on that. That was the biggest that we could find.
We can improve by
We
making
rented
sure
the
they
biggest
had
one that
turned
they
the
had,
right
so-
You
direction.
could put it down, sandwich.
It's bad part about nobody being there when they set it up, till you got down there was water and it's like,
Any questions,
it's
anybody?
just facing the wrong way.
How much is the insurance running you guys for this?
You just missed Bob Dewart.
That's not so as bad as I was expecting with all the
That's-
fire.
That's pretty bad.
It's pretty expensive.
For an hour, pretty bad.
I want those rates.
I just wanted to make a comment because you and I have talked many times on this, and they put out a lot of money on that thing, and
I'm putting out-
I'm worried. I'm concerned of you being whole.
I'm putting out 11 grand about every year.
Personally.
That's what I'm
personally.
saying, and I've got a concern of making sure that that's a big deal for this town, and just to make sure that we try to keep them whole.
You can write a check to fireworks, I
see
Well, I mean,
That would solve the problem there,
we're
Brian.
not in it to make money.
No, and I
Our business-
understand
our
that.
business-
That's what I'm saying. They're looking to.
Our business is not in it to make a lot of money. 'Cause
It's
just
a
not.
wonderful thing.
Like the profits that we actually get through the fireworks stand help pays for that.
Okay.
What we have left, Christmas parade, we give out, I don't know how many stockings we gave out this year, full 300, 400.
Something.
That's a lot.
Do you guys feel like the level of advertising that you get because you do this event helps you stay above board financially? I mean, do you feel like, is there some way that maybe we could partner more with you guys to share your name in regards to, obviously you put your CVB on your stuff because of this grant, but, and I feel like anytime I hear about fireworks, I hear fireworks that pop in. But how do you guys feel?
The more you advertise, the more people you're gonna go into town. Do we have room for that many more people to come
Well,
to town?
make room.
That's the only worry I have is really advertising it too much.
Put them on the roof.
Because last year they said they was like this.
I mean, it was tight for sure. When you guys have your stands and whatnot, do you feel like because you're the official provider of fireworks for the Red Brick Nights event, does that equate to a lot more sales for you? Is what I mean. Like,
It probably helps some, but as cheap as
do you lose money on
as
doing
cheap
the
as
Red
we
Brick Nights?
sell, as cheap as we sell, we get good customers. So
Now, our fireworks stand has not covered every year on the show.
So some years you
We
have lost.
personally put in the money to take care of the difference. So it's,
Well, and that's what I think we don't want you guys to lose money.
but you gotta remember, we can only sell for 3 weeks in a year, so, that's just one of those.
and I'm a pyro nut and I get the blow ups.
And you gotta deal with weather, if it's a bad weather season, it's not gonna matter, because, if it's too dry where you can't do fireworks, your sales are down. Or if it's way too wet, your sales are down, so, it's
There's
just one of
been
those.
years, and there's been years like, I don't know what year it was, that the burn man was on. We made $30 profit. It was a profit.
Hey, it was weird.
I didn't lose nothing. So, and we still got to blow stuff up even though it's in October.
Okay.
So, no, we just enjoy doing it, and you walk out in that crowd and see people smiling, that's what it's about. You see them kids hooting and hollering, so.
So Cal, what did we give you last year?
I think it ended up being 4,000, 2,000 and 2,000.
And did you come out whole?
I think towards the firewood, actually, the time we bought the water slide, did the advertisement and the water slide, I think towards fireworks was like $300. the cost, so.
Get your checkbook out, Michael.
Not mine.
I know there's some rich people in Guthrie, I just ain't one of them.
Thank you,
That
Calvin.
with me?
Thank you, Calvin.
And James, I'll get you for the road closure,
Good to see you too.
once we figure all that out.
Mr. Derek Casey, third time's the charm.
Third time. I'm Jerry Casey. I'm with Military Veterans Rodeo Promotion. We run the rodeo grounds down here all year long. My proposal that came to you was for $2,500. Some of you should have a financial sheet from last year. If you remember last year, 89ers Day alone, we rained out and we had to move our rodeo to the next weekend. Usually we have a team that's close to 1,500 to 2,000. We've had in the past with the rain out. I thought we did pretty well. We had 600 people that came, but that's not the only event that we do. We do professional barrel racing. Most of our stuff is oriented towards rodeo or shows or, towards livestock and stuff. We talked to Bozarts last year about doing a pumpkin patch down there. It was a bad season for her, as far as raising pumpkins, and so we didn't get to do that. I've talked to some people here on the board about their businesses doing wrestling matches or board games or using the arena as live flight checkerboards and stuff for the future to come. So we're growing down there. We're making a difference. I don't know what the future holds. I got to wait and see on these new plans for ATVs and all the stuff to come, see where we're going to stand as far as rodeo to come in the future. I don't know. I can't answer that. I just know I have to lease for 2 years, and then I have to see at the May about renewing my lease for the 5 more years.
So your lease is 2 more years from this May?
2020, December 31st of 2020 is my last day so far. We advertise y'all on everything we do. You're advertised all the way, I'll just let you know, all the way to Canada, to South America. I have bull riders and horse people come and stay at the arena throughout the year. I think this year we got 15 horse trailers and RVs coming to stay during Little Britches. I've been called about the Bluegrass Festival, about the 10 RV hookups we have there. They're supposed to get back with me, some people that can't get into the park because it's so full down at the flats that some people have referred them to us. So we're looking at that for better income this year, and hopefully it'll grow. We have the rodeo this year. I just got a bid in for a 2-day rodeo instead of a 1-day rodeo, and the cost of the rodeo alone for this one weekend that we're putting on is $11,350. That doesn't include the other rodeos we put on during the year, the bull riding, but these, and 8 events of barrel racing and miniature rodeos and junior rodeos we do down there, plus riding days and stuff. So I think it's hard to do it on this event sheet because a lot of people that come to the rodeo have horse trailers and they stay in them and all. But like Lazy E puts on the Joe Simon Bucking Stock sale in January, I know that from that sale, y'all's Guthrie's not advertised, or the hotels aren't advertised there. In La Quinta, I had 35 people check in January, and on a 114, 115, 10 more checked in, and then on 118, the final day of the Bucking Stock sale, 22 more checked in for that whole week. And then they went ahead and stayed in the hotels to go to the IFR in Oklahoma City and stuff. That's just from the La Quinta, from my advertising about places to stay. We bring economic in like Bozarts, the boot, a guy from Canada, JC. He bought, I think I'm going to be close, I think he bought 3 to 6 pair of custom boots. And he's from Canada every year, and he stays with me during that January time frame. I make him stay here. The hotel they advertise is Edmond out there. And I told him about La Quinta and sleep in, and that's where they stay. I got 2 guys from Minnesota, that's where they stay, because they're sponsor hotels for us. So they stay in Guthrie. Little Britches, people that stay at my arena, they buy food here, they go to shops here. They're actually here, they're at that arena from the time go till the time end. So they go across the street, they come downtown and eat, they see the shops. So we're available more through the year, that we put our word out more through the year than what we do actually every Niners Day weekend, because you have so many stay for the festival, it's hard to get an accurate count, who's here for the rodeo, who's here for the celebration of the rodeo, so I can count throughout the other part of the year how much I bring, like that one event, like these people.
You said throughout the year you had 11 events, is that
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir, we had 11 different events, and we're looking at
So
10 or more this year.
So did we we don't have a recap on those events, do we?
Yes, sir, this is where I put it all together. Can I borrow your sheet?
Yep.
If you don't mind. Right here, and you look over here, it says, Bulldog and Big Barrel Racing. We made 2,100, I don't have my glasses.
20, yeah, okay.
Thank you. It's my second pair within 2 months, and both of them been broke feeding cows, so I apologize. It is what it is. Sometimes when we're trying to get it, separate some calves, as they probably know.
But that was your,
Profit.
okay.
That was our profit.
But off how many events though?
10 last year.
Okay.
The last year we were open barrel races, and if you check out the website Better Barrel Racing, they give away close to, I think, 150,000 at Oklahoma City. We're now sanctioned Better Barrel Racing, and I'm talking to the WPRA, which is Women's Professional Barrel Racing and stuff. They're looking at coming. I got 2 events from Vegas, for me work in Vegas. They're looking at coming to us in 2020 and stuff. So future plans are looking better. It looks like growth. It's just a matter of what the plan is for the fairground to come in the future as to whether these people are going to commit. Because they look at trying to commit for 3 to 5 years, and I can't give them an answer yet. So,
How are you feeling about after your lease is up? What do you want to do
I'd love for it to grow. I'd love for it to have more events
with you?
with me. I mean, if, I know the Logan County Economic has it till 2025, and it goes to the city, and I've made mention 2 or 3 times, if it goes to the city, I'd like to be part of that board and bring the people that I have coming to me, that we still make it grow. It's just a matter of what their plan is for the fairground and how that's going to affect. There's some people in here probably know how horse trailers are going to park, how they're going to be able to be there self-contained, how we're going to stall animals, how we're going to do stuff. Because right now, I bring my 200 and something prefert panels, and I set up stalls and my own chutes and my own open boxes and stuff to have an additional arena when little britches are here, so then kids can practice calf and goat in one thing, breakaway, and calf tying and all that. In the other arena, they're practicing steer rope and calf roping to tie them up, which really helps them a lot. So when they got to go out there, they got a place to tune up free. So it brings them people in, and then I have people from out there that come during the day to tune up to go. So it's a growing thing. It could be really growing a lot.
Jerry, talk a minute about why you do this.
I do this because I'm a 30-year disabled veteran, and what I do is our money goes to help local veterans. It never leaves this area. And when I say area, I mean like Crescent, Mulhar, Lindo, Covington, Kingfisher, this area. I don't drip down to Edmond and stuff, except for, I got a couple of sponsors down there that helps us out a lot. One huge sponsor is Trinity. They spray lawns and fertilize and stuff. And then we got Diesel Power Plus that's on Waterloo Road. He helped us rebuild 2 veterans' one veteran's diesel engine, and helped out another guy, and he gave it to us for cost. So we paid him cost to have a veteran's engine rebuilt that he had to have to go to work. Another veteran lost his job, and he was out of a job for a while, and his daughter had a senior prom, so we bought, I hate to say, we bought a prom and an updo and a ticket, so people look at me funny for a veteran, but, we do that. Another veteran lost his home in a fire. He wasn't local. He was up around Tulsa area. They called me, said, hey, they need help now. This kid rides bulls on, on the junior level and all. He's lost his bull rope, his shafts. So I did some internet calling friends and stuff, got that. And we put him in a hotel and got him shafts and bull ropes and stuff that the young man needed. He was 12 years old. His dad was a veteran, combat veteran, Purple Heart recipient in town. We helped him with his kids' school clothes. That's what we do mostly with our money. Then the arena, all year, we have to pay insurance all year. This year, we had a major setback that the water line busted, in there. And that was over $1,500 to repair it, and the water bill was close to $2,000 during the summer, which nobody had a way to look. Well, they did. They just didn't know it was leaking, and nobody called me. Then it was during the switch, I think, in between the city
And rural water.
and rural water taking over, so the bill came out to be $1,500, or almost $2,000, I got the bill here, and then I had to pay that. So we lost some money last year due to having to fix some things in the arena that I didn't know about. I've replaced 2 poles, I've got 10 now 30-amp plugs, and electricity and water that'll go to them 10, and, but you gotta be self-contained, but I have a toilet area out there, the restroom and all that they can use, and most trailers that stay have a shower, so. We facilitate a lot of people coming throughout the year. 35 is the main turnpike for people that rodeo, horse shows, cattle. I've got people that bring show cattle that just need a place to lay over a day before they get to Fort Worth, Houston, San Antonio, so they gotta get out and rest their cattle or horses for a horse show or a barrel race. And they'll lay over the arena and practice. You know, I don't charge them for that use. I try to build the facility now so that people will say, oh, I can stop here. It's just right off 35, drop my horse off, come do that, stay in a hotel or stay in my trailer and stuff. So that's how we facilitate Guthrie a lot. We put you on all our advertisements and banners and stuff that we put out.
Questions?
Did the water bill come from rural water?
Yes, sir.
I didn't think they were part of the rural water down there in the fairgrounds.
Yes, sir. I didn't either when I got the bill.
They got the one that's split out in the middle of the road that they just still haven't got back together.
Right, remember?
It's
Right there,
a
they put up
mess.
a new
Right.
guardrail there.
It's right in the center of the highway, or the.
Oh, I know right where you're
driveway.
talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but from that pressure being turned on and off, my meter was on. There was a weak line, you know, that runs in front of the bathroom where the bleachers are. And that line busted underneath. I had Max Plumbing come out and fix it and stuff, and then we had to pay the bill. They used $35,000, $12,000, and $73,000 in 3 months. So it was quite a deficit to our account for helping veterans out this year. And we'll have it paid off this month. They gave us 12 months to pay, but I haven't paid off now. It's a chunk of change.
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
thank you. We are halfway through.
Well, we know James will be
Huh?
We know James will be stupid, so you can just talk.
Okay, who does OBGA Silver Series Classic? Is this our goats? This
Yes,
is our
sir.
goats. And this is a new event.
This is a new event. My name is Curtis Elmore. I am the president of the Oklahoma Bow Goat Association. With me is Shane Merriman, who's one of our board of directors, Theo Vaney, board of director, and then we have John Myers. He's our treasurer. He's also a Crescent resident. We are looking for a new venue, which we are now locked in for the year at the Logan County Fairgrounds for a show in May, first weekend in May, July 4th and 5th, July 6th and 7th, and October the 26th and 27th. Our Silver Series is a contest that we have. We have 3 shows per weekend, 2 on a Saturday, 1 on a Sunday. And that our Silver Series event is on the spring and the fall shows, our April and our May and our October show. We have a point system and we give away prizes. We have about 60 to 65 farms represented for each of the weekends that come from all different states, you know, of course Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, Missouri, Colorado, Kansas, Louisiana, a couple from Tennessee, Missouri. We have them coming from all over. If they all average right around 3 people per farm, some of them come with a lot more, some maybe come with 1 or 2 people, it just depends. So that's quite a few people for the weekend. Of course, they'll stay in, I'd say 95% of them stay in hotels. You'll have a few that'll bring their trailers that they'll stay in now. And some of them might not be that far away. Like, of course, John, he'll stay at home since he's, 15 minutes away. We have the show that's kind of started this a couple of years ago. Our Summer Classic is what we call it. And we actually had 190 ahead in our show this last year. We are actually a bigger show than the State of Oklahoma Fair and Tulsa. We are trying to get, our nationals is quite a bit bigger, which they have in Nebraska right now. But we're trying to rival Fort Worth Stock Show. But we're growing more and more every year. So we expect our numbers to grow and increase every year. Let's see. It is a new event for us here. We have previously been down in Pauls Valley. But we're looking for a new place to live, so to speak. I know this year we are locked in, and the Logan County Fair Board has mentioned that they would like to lock us in for a little bit longer of a contract, for at least 2 or 3 years at least.
So which show did you have the big participation? Was it the July show?
July show, we had 190 head for that show. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Is that 2 to 3 people per head, or each
Well,
farm
that-
brings 5 to 6 animals?
It really depends on how big the farm is. Some might bring, 5 or 6 heads, some might bring 1 or 2. It just really kind of depends on what they have that time of year.
What do you think your overall attendance was for it?
I mean, you're talking about anywhere from 50 to 65 exhibitors per weekend. Times that by 2, I mean, you're looking at 130 plus spectators, so you're looking a little over 200 or so people per day, weekend. It can go up and it can go down.
Right.
Majority of the people come in on Friday evening, so they'll have a place to stay there. They'll stay Saturday night, and then we have a show Sunday morning, and after that, most people leave, that afternoon.
So generally, they're staying 2 nights
Yeah.
in the hotels.
And where do you store the goats when they're not, are they?
They'll be penned inside the fairgrounds.
Unless you have a big backyard.
Are they afraid of fireworks is what I was gonna ask.
That's what we were kind of wondering, because that's gonna
The
be,
distance between.
the distance should be okay.
Okay,
And
Yeah.
I put a sound system in the building where your goats are. You
Yeah.
can turn on George Strait
Okay.
for them, I guess.
Yeah.
Be all right.
And, well, that, because that will be on that Saturday night.
uh-huh,
Our show, on average, will end, because we have the 2 shows on Saturday, it'll probably be 8 o'clock Saturday night before we're done. So, we'll still be there. I mean, some of us don't leave the barn.
okay.
So,
Well, I know people like using the fairgrounds for the fireworks show, so just be advised that.
and just, these goats aren't what you see at county show. We have goats that average price, let's say $400 is what they start out at. I have a goat that I've been offered $20,000 for.
Wow.
So,
Serious goats.
these are serious goats.
They eat better than we do a lot of days, so.
And they're taking, Bob's my insurance man. I've been trying to get him to, figure out how I can claim my goats on my taxes.
It's farm taxes.
Yeah,
Have a barbecue.
no, we don't eat these.
Not with the goats.
So can I ask, what brought you up here from Pauls Valley? That seems like a big, is it just centrally located, what?
Most
You
of
can pass
what
it
we
around.
looked at,
Or did they just not want you anymore?
well, no,
No, they do.
yeah.
Yes.
Most of what we looked at was the facilities and location. Like Curtis touched on, a lot of our exhibitors are coming from the surrounding states and within the state. So I-35, I mean, it runs right through
Okay.
for several people. And kind of to put it in perspective a little bit more, Curtis said, Nationals is up in Nebraska. You can ask almost anybody in this area for Nationals. Most of your animals that you are going to see win at Nationals will come through this show every year.
Yeah, the reserve national champion buck was at our show, which,
Yeah.
so we just grow more and more every year.
And that's why, I don't know if you touched on this, our May show, Nationals is in June. So
It's a
People-
tune-up right before the
Yeah,
Nationals.
people know that they can come to the OBGA show. If they do well here, they're going to do pretty good
They
at
have a pretty good
nationals.
chance at nationals.
Yeah,
Yes. Some of the best breeders in the nation are in this area.
yeah.
With the deer and coming up through Texas, so.
And there
always
are
things there.
5 OBGA members that live here in Logan County.
Okay.
So we've been in Paul's Valley for the last 8, 9 years. And this past year, the Fair Board, security is a big parameter for us. And so this past year, they took down all their perimeter fencing around the facilities. And so each weekend, we get with the local law enforcement to hire a security guard to stay with the animals all weekend long. And so with cars going in and out of the fairgrounds, I mean, with the amount of money that's sitting in the barn, it's only feasible for us to have on-site security. And so that was a big turning point for us, not being able to control the entrance and out of the location.
And were those outdoor pens down at Paul's Valley?
No, they were under
They were indoor?
They were indoor, yeah.
just like what you have here.
But
So are you gonna have to hire security here because?
we will hire security,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
It's just a liability issue because of the amount of money that's there.
We have to carry our own liability for the show policy,
Okay.
which covers over $1 million in damages and losses. So it's pretty significant cost for us to get these policies and carry them. Most of these venues these days are requiring any outside participants, you know, to carry those just for their sake for the county or the local.
Okay.
But we are looking to make this spot our new home. Correct. And I mean, it's right here in the center of Oklahoma. I mean, we got the major interstate here, it's right off the highway. Guthrie's a wonderful full facility. They've invested in many new hotels for this area. I mean, the eating and dining. I live over between Tulsa, and I'm down here every other week. So it's a wonderful place to come. And like I said, the OBGA is looking for a new home. And with us hosting 3 shows, 3 different weekends throughout the year, we look forward to making the show even bigger. And so it's the boar goats in the United States, the money that's being spent on animals is crazy. And I mean, there's a lot of money being funneled into the boar goats. And so with the money being there, the people are going to be coming. They're going to be visiting, you know, they're going to be seeing your town. Up until this point, you know, nobody knew where Paul's Valley was, but you tell them now, they know exactly where Paul's Valley is. So we want to make that for Guthrie, Oklahoma.
Questions from the board? All right, thanks,
Thank you,
guys.
ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
James, we're coming to you.
Last on the list.
Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Save the best for last.
Okay, I've got them done. Born and branded. Come on down.
James didn't last.
Yeah, James is last. We saved the best for last.
It was alphabetical order.
Number 5 is all this discussing.
So he helped me get up here, so I'll hang out so you're not the last one.
Okay.
All right. Well, the festival is called the Oklahoma Born and Branded Festival. This is our 2nd attempt to come to Guthrie. We ended up not being here last year and ended up in Edmond. And so we had to scale down our plans and vision, but we are here and we're trying it again. So Oklahoma Born and Branded, my company is called a community firm. I help nonprofits. Sometimes I gut them, sometimes I come in and just read bylaws. We do capital campaigns for them. We kind of run the gamut with what we do. I was invited to come in and try to work with another nonprofit here in Guthrie. Out of that process, this festival was kind of born, hence Born and Branded. What it focuses on is Oklahoma business, Oklahoma artists. So everyone who participates in the festival, all of the vendors are going to be Oklahoma small business, starter companies, but they're all Oklahoma-based companies that'll have vendor booths. All of the musicians, we have a free music stage, and we have 2 ticket sale events that will be happening in the city. Potentially 3, but I don't have a signed contract for that one yet, so we're working on that yet. So we have a free music stage. It's all Oklahoma artists from across the state. They do country and Christian. We are going to be going September 27th, 28th, 29th, which runs the weekend right before Bluegrass Festival. Last year, when I was coming to the chamber meetings, we were talking about, how amazing that would be to develop a country sound for Guthrie that runs right into the Bluegrass Festival. So some really similar genres, but very different genres that kind of fill the city for 10 full days, just about. So some of the things that we are doing is I've worked with the chamber. We've developed a list.
That's my youngest daughter. I got a kitty call for her. Sorry about that.
Someone was dying down there.
Oh yeah, that's scary. So we worked on a list of the local restaurants, and one of the things that we're trying to do is we're meeting together with the local restaurants, the mom and pop non-chain restaurants that are owned here. And the idea is that we would be able to match a restaurant with one of the vendors coming in, one of the food vendors coming in, not food vendors, but like a spice company or one of the barbecue companies that are coming in, and we could partner them maybe with Stables or one of the other restaurants. The idea would be that the restaurant would prepare a meal or something to sell at a space on the streets that we're using this barbecue sauce or using this spice, and then we put the 2 vendors together. So we've got spice, we've got product, and we've got the local restaurant earning money, and we've got the Oklahoma small business trying to earn money at the same time. We have one of the guys from Street Outlaws. He had committed to us last year for the car show, and we believe that we will have him again this year to sponsor a special kind of car show, souped up kind of street race car show with sponsors and awards, and then the ticketed events, the ticket concerts, country concerts.
Cool. So are you looking at the flats, the same place where Bluegrass happens?
No, sir. No, sir. Or no, ma'am, sorry. Where cat calls and, no, we are trying to keep everything downtown. And this is kind of the advantage and disadvantage of last year not working is that we have spent a lot of time talking with business owners downtown. And that was one of the things they talked to us about is keeping the crowds downtown and around town. And so we thought we really want the music in the middle of town. So we're looking at putting the free music stage like at Oklahoma at first. And then we are utilizing one of the venues in town for the paid ticket concerts to keep people here past 8 o'clock.
Okay.
May I ask why it didn't work out last year here? Can you clarify?
How should we put it?
Scheduling conflicts.
Scheduling conflict. I like it.
That sounds real elusive.
Yeah.
City staff.
So vendors, I'm assuming will also, are there gonna be street closures for vendors or?
Yes, yes.
Do we know?
We'll be on this side of Division, so we're not.
The east side of Division?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm
West side.
directionally
West
impaired,
side.
so.
West
West
side.
side?
Wait, you're gonna be on the
Yes.
west side of the division,
West
you're gonna be on first.
Okay, yes. We'll get there, we got there.
We'll get you in the right direction.
This side of Division.
Is that right?
Pretty much just out the door here, down the street.
Yeah, we'll be on this side, so we're gonna keep everything on this side of Division. That's what we're gonna do.
Is there a reason you're wanting to stick on to one side of Division, or?
Yes, ma'am. Safety, if we need to cross Division at any point in time. Last year, because we were very far in our planning last year, we were 8 weeks away from launching the statewide marketing for it, which I'm grateful. Hey, it happened then and not after I'd already launched everything. But we have to pay for special troopers to be there. We have to notify Highway Patrol. We have to pay for extra security, and my insurance goes up quite a bit.
Just because it's crossing Division and there's 2 blocks.
State highway.
State highway.
State highway, gotcha.
Yep. Yep.
That makes sense.
Do you know how many streets you'll have to close for those 3 days? Or which streets?
We have an idea of which streets we're working on. One of the venues, we're still trying to figure out how far up we need to go. We waiting on the fire marshal to give us an outside standing room only space, and then we'll know how far up we're gonna go. So Oklahoma, Harrison first, and then we're going over, or we're coming this way. Look, right, this is Oklahoma, right? So we're going over another street and probably back down again. Back west again.
Right.
Sound right?
Do what?
Right by your place, right?
Everything's always right.
Good location.
It's a hub. You have a perfect location.
I have no parking, that's what I have, but.
Excuse me for being ignorant, but which way is Harrison from your front door? Is it
South.
further south? Okay.
Yeah,
So-
we're Oklahoma first, Cleveland, Harrison.
So
What,
you
can
still have
are
to
you
go.
not wanting to share what the venues are? Is it still like being worked out? What's the big venue, if I can ask?
Well,
You don't have, if you can't, it's
Yeah,
fine.
you can write it down and pass it down.
Yeah,
I was gonna say,
You're on
because-
TV, so
right,
don't-
because we are.
If it's not under contract, then that's fine, okay.
I have contracts, but I don't have them back. I have verbal, I have email, but I don't physically have it in my
totally
hand. So I don't wanna publicly.
And the
Publicly.
3,500 people a day,
Right.
is that in just the downtown area, or is that at the paid shows and the visitors downtown?
That's a great question. So what we're basing that on, and I am gonna say this, I think we're gonna be more than that. Because we're looking at 2,000, hoping on 2,000 tickets sold a night at the venue with the outside space. And I know you're cycling through your head, where?
I know.
Where in town, if it's not the flats, is that? No.
Well,
We are being very creative. So
Okay.
last year, when we had to move and recreate and redo, we had 2,500. Our 3-day event became a 1-day event with free music, and we had 2,500 people show up there. So.
Do you still have to get approval from every person on that block to shut down that block?
We do.
I would suggest going the other direction.
We're,
Talk about that afterwards.
yeah,
So
well,
you probably already know what I'm talking about.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we will not be utilizing that space.
But don't you have to? You can't shut down half a block. You have to shut down the entire block.
We're not going that far.
But here's how that works too.
Yeah.
It's just I'm okay with, it's an acknowledgement that they know it will be shut down. It's not a,
Yes.
give me permission to shut down.
But if they protest it, you can't shut
Well,
the street.
No, the ultimate, I think, decision for any special use permit goes through Justin and Leroy.
Yeah.
And if necessary, the city council.
Okay.
Right.
So any special use permit
The
goes,
reason I ask it is because that shut us down with one of our wrestling shows last year, and we weren't
well,
able to do it.
let's cross that bridge when we get to it.
So I'm
Let's,
just trying to help you out there.
Yeah.
let's let them get the paperwork in
Yeah,
and
yeah.
let Justin and do his thing.
Rebecca and I have talked a lot about the special use permits, and yes, we are on the same page.
So,
Yeah.
okay,
We got a plan.
Yeah.
cool.
We feel good.
Any other questions?
I'm dying to know who these $32,000 performers are. I'm excited about that.
$32,000.
So in the money, I put on there, I mean, specifically the money will be used for the billboards out by John Vance, for 2 months. The gentleman that we are working with, they do the designing, so they'll have the logos on there for us. It'll be, I forget how many seconds, an hour, it's like 9 times an hour for 2 months.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Is the marketing and advertising that'll happen up there, and
When does
it's,
your contract start for the board? The billboard?
it would start in August, so it would be August and September.
Do they have confirmation for you that that board will be up and working? You know, that board has not worked since it's been up. So they're charging-
I
Don't pay them till it's
So
going.
it was working last year at the festival time. It
Okay.
was working
I
last
mean,
year.
yeah, and you typically have like black lines through it, like it's the jankiest LED billboard you've ever seen. So,
I
just
have
as a
one.
citizen, I would warn you.
Thank you, and I've had some great things come from it, so we have been writing things in, to some of the contracts that we're doing, kinda like, so a couple of the bands that we're booking, things like no pirating, you know, within 100 miles for 4 weeks before, 4 weeks after the festival, to ensure that, and that basically means for a musician that they're not booking 3 or 4 events around, if they're gonna come to Guthrie, they're not booking 3 or 4, like in the city, they can't go to Oklahoma City and book an
Yeah,
event.
oh, okay.
So we're writing stuff in there like there, you know, if you're late, if something's faulty, so, you know, like, if it's not working exactly, we're adding that and putting all that kind of stuff, cause I'll just be blunt, we lost a lot of money last year. We lost a lot of money. So we learned some things.
Yeah,
I think
as
we
you
all
do.
learned some things. So we're being very strategic and
So do you have a long-term vision for this? Is it something you're wanting to maybe become a new legacy event for Guthrie? Or do you have, like, obviously we want it to succeed. If it succeeds, are you thinking like every year for the foreseeable future?
I would appreciate that, because our other option, we did have an offer from another town over by Tulsa. Well, I live here. I don't live in the city of Guthrie, but I live, you know, right here. I can go there, I don't want to.
Right.
Our team, and we have a team, we had a team that was putting the project together before we got, you know, and our team has been 2 years now invested in putting this together, so, I mean, we wanna be here. I've been trying to bring another organization to Guthrie for several years, for 3 years, as a matter of fact. We're invested in making this happen, so, and that's just kind of, you know, where we're at. We believe we're supposed to be here, it keeps coming back to us, so we're just trying to be better at what we need to do to get it here. If the town wants it. I mean,
Well, I
you know,
think,
if the
I mean,
if
do
the
you
town
agree?
wants it.
This sounds perfectly on brand with where we want to be, the types of events that people can rely on Guthrie to have, right? I mean, I am all for this. This sounds awesome.
Well, to us, it just made, you know, Oklahoma born and branded. I mean, Guthrie was first capital. It just kind of all fit for us, you know. And then everything is about all the musicians, all the art, all the spices, all the small businesses, all the inventions. They're all Oklahoma based. Everything's about Oklahoma.
Very cool.
So.
My last question is, it's a, excuse me, it says under host organization for profit, but is that because it's you guys are the host, or do you
Right.
have someone you can't name?
No, the community firm is my business, and that's a for-profit company. So we're doing this festival underneath, oh, sorry, that's my phone. I'm gonna have to turn that off, I apologize, it's an alarm.
At least it's not a cat meow.
Yeah. Excuse me.
My oldest daughter's a fighting cat. Cat fight.
Okay.
Sorry,
So
we have
this
foster
is you
kids.
guys.
Yes,
Okay, that's what I want, okay.
Yeah, so the community firm is my company, and that's the company that we fix nonprofits, help nonprofits build their policy. And so the festival is under that for another level of insurance.
Okay.
So. to talk business for a minute.
Any questions from the board? Justin? Brian? Good? Thank you.
Thank you. I promised I'd stay, so you wouldn't be the last one here.
Mr. James Long, welcome to the front of the class.
Oh, all right, thank you. I've never done this. Okay, so I'm here for Red Brick Nights. I think everyone is familiar with the event. What you have in your packet is essentially just the information. It's the 5 events, the first Saturday of every month, May through September. It's a community event that's free to the public with live music, food trucks, pop-up shops, as well as kid entertainment. So it's a very family-friendly, fun environment that I think our community has started to look forward to. This is going to be season 4 for us, so we've done it for 3 years now, 16 being the first one. So if you look at what we look as far as economic impact, as far as anticipated attendance, I've got a total for the season. I guesstimated at about 25,000 for the season. And that's really taken into account, I only budget 10,000 people for actually the 4th of July, which it could be a lot more, but just basing numbers off what we've had in the past off of those towers that you can ping cell phones and get a count that way. We budget that for about that, and then 3,500 individuals for the other months, for May, June, August, and September. So the total budget is about 25,000 is what it takes to put this on each year, and I've kind of got that broken down. Stage and sound we spend 10,500, music and talent 7,500, insurance 2,500, toilets 3,000, and then marketing materials, printing, Facebook ads, things of that nature, $1,500 budgeted for that. So that's our expenditures. We just raise enough money to put the event on, and then we stop it. This isn't intended to be an income-producing activity for anyone. It's just we want to be able to host the event for the community. So if you look at, I believe they're in your packet, the attachments as far as the community supporter. These are our sponsorship packets that we send out to our businesses that we ask to sponsor our event each year. And so there's kind of a letter that explains the event, and then there is a sponsorship application form, and also explains what you get at each level. So each year we've had John Vance and myself have been the 2 platinum sponsors, each giving $5,000 toward the event, and then we've got our gold sponsors, which City of Guthrie was part of last year, as well as Long Hair Repair, Eskridge Chevrolet, and F&M Bank, each giving at the gold sponsor level. And then we've got silver sponsors. We had 2 last year, and then bronze we had 4, sorry, can't count. And so this is how we raise the money in order to host the event each year. We just look for sponsors in order to put it on, and then we kind of outline what we do for those sponsors at those levels. So at the 2,500 level, we put the logo on the stage banner. There's a giant human foosball table in the kids area. You get a big, I believe it's a 4x4 space on. Verbal recognition at each event, recognition on the website, and then if someone from the CVB I wanted to get on stage and do some type of plugging of events or what have you at the 4th of July event, they can do that too. I think that probably Tracy and I and Justin, who get up there and speak, probably do a really good job of trying to plug other events and activities for Guthrie, but if there was something specific that you guys wanted to do, you could definitely do that as well. So that's what we're looking for, to see if the City of Guthrie's Convention and Visitors Bureau is willing to sponsor again this level at the gold level. And I did not complete, and honestly, I didn't complete the internal use form. I'm just kidding, that's a joke. I didn't complete the post-event project report because I thought that was for post-event. I didn't, so I thought that was not for now, I thought that was for after the event.
And then how much in-kind help do you get from the city for police and stuff? Do you know at all?
They typically have a police officer or two down at the event. I know Tenny's crew throws out the barricades for us, and then we have volunteers that, Justin, Fortney, myself, that put those out on the day, but they actually, I mean, they provide them for us. And then we have, they're really good about coming back and doing a trash pickup for us on Sunday morning. So we've got volunteers that take out the back, you know, put the trash all in the corners or in centrally located, so that then they'll come on Sunday and pick up trash for us.
There's something else. Any questions, group? There's something else I was gonna ask, but I'll think of it after you leave, I'm sure. None? Well, you got off easy.
Well, hopefully everyone here's attended Red Brick Night, so they're familiar with the festivities.
You know, in all honesty, the only one I don't go to is the 4th of July.
4th of July one?
Because I went the first year and I couldn't get my wheelchair in and out and around the crowd, and I just said bye.
That actually brings up a good point that I talked to Justin about a bit, because Christmas is who did the water bottles at this last, like the chamber offered different nonprofits to sell water for funding for that nonprofit. And it was terrifying. It was so many people, which I mean is a good problem to have, but it led me to wonder if there's something that maybe the city could be doing to facilitate more safety, especially ADA compliance. We had one of our elderly board members fall because of the crowd, and she was trying to get the trash, and she fell on the curb, and it was a rough night. The trash was overwhelming.
Was that 4th of July though?
Yes.
That was, this year was busy. I mean, I don't think anyone anticipated having that many.
Right, and I think that it's like a very conservative estimate for attendance. I think that these are really standing off. Which again, it's a great, awesome, but what can we be doing to maybe facilitate more safety measures, and not necessarily anything that Mr. Long has to worry about, but just from a city maybe perspective and in-kind assistance from streets department or something.
Well, I think one thing I talked to Leroy about with it was to ask Red Brick Nights to set up a handicapped seating area. You know, somewhere, and rope it off and set, you know, so that people with wheelchairs or with walkers could be somewhere, but that was before the fire. So I don't know what
Yeah, we haven't discussed
I don't know what your alternative plans were, but I know that was one thing. Now, usually I go, I take pictures and I leave, you know, but.
And I know it's spread out more because it's all the way up Harrison.
Yeah,
So I was gonna suggest spreading out more, but you really can't spread out more.
We block off we block off more streets for the 4th of July. We block off Harrison from Division to Broad. We block off Oklahoma from Division to Broad.
Yeah.
We block off, obviously, Wentz from Harrison all the way to Cleveland. And then Cleveland is the truck route there. We don't block it off to, but when it is time for fireworks, there are people sitting in Napa's parking lot. There's people sitting down at the.
Oh yeah, they're everywhere.
I mean, you just can't facilitate that type of blocking off or moving, but we definitely do block off all of those streets, not only just to have seating available, but also to ensure any fallout from fireworks or what have you, there's enough setback that we do that as far as on Harrison. And so there's definitely people sitting on Harrison, but even at Harrison itself, I think they have another set of barricades just to keep people back just that little bit further.
Well, I think you guys have made an event that'll be here for a long time to come.
Agreed. Can you see the fireworks from like Mineral Wells?
Mm-hmm.
So people could be down there.
Yeah, they're all up and down.
As long as you're not standing right next to a 4-story building, you can see them from anywhere in town.
I mean, there was reports last year that people were sitting on the hill at Walmart watching
There
the
you go.
fireworks.
Are you doing food trucks again, James?
Yes, we do food trucks. So food trucks is the number one type of vendor that we get. Like we struggle more to get pop-up shops than we do food trucks. We already completely booked for our food trucks for the entire season. And so, but we limit the amount of food trucks. We want our food truck, it's a very well-known event within the food truck community. I mean, we started getting applications for Red Brick Nights for 2019 in December of this last year. But we limit our food trucks. So we limit them to 7 trucks for every event outside of 4th of July. And 4th of July, we go to 14.
And they still all did really well on the.
Oh, they did
Yes.
great.
Yeah.
I mean, their lines are, it's awesome.
And so the feedback that you get from the people coming is they always want more food trucks. But if you want your food trucks to keep coming back, you have to ensure they have somewhat of a line. They have to do well. Otherwise, I mean, if they don't do well, they're not gonna come back. So we like for our food trucks to continue to come back, and so we limit that. So, and then we also limit our vendors. We don't do any MLM style vendors as well, because our other true pop-up shops, they don't like those type of vendors in with the mix, and so we don't allow.
What's an MLM?
Multi-level marketing.
Yeah,
So
I get.
if you
I
sell
didn't think
Scentsy-
you'd have multi-level marketing.
Yeah, if you sell Scentsy, you can't sell
Right,
it.
okay.
So how many pop-up shops or other vendors do you allow per event?
I believe we have a total of, I think we have a total of 20 spots that come in that fit on Oklahoma from Wentz to Broad.
Okay.
And then we have North Church Guthrie that supports the kids area, and they do inflatables, face painting. In fact, it was a little over $7,000 that North Church invested themselves in Red Brick Nights to ensure there's inflatables, that there was face painters, that there was balloon artists, that there was activities and things for the kids to do. So we do not figure that in on our sponsors, because they just ensure that the kids area is there and manned. So
And there's a lot of kids that come.
there are a lot of kids.
And they bring they take care of their own volunteers, and
Yes.
they're a self-contained world.
Yes.
That's pretty incredible.
We learned that if we just put the snow cone person down there, that's a better fit.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
thank you, sir.
Good job, guys.
Thank you.
All right, do we need a break at all real quick before we start giving money?
Let's just fire it out.
Everyone good? Justin has the budget for us. So if Justin will turn his little magic board around and talk to us.
Well, before I do that, just to give you get you up to speed on the year, like just like with city sales tax, hotel and motel revenue has been less than previous years. So for like the first quarter, so October, November, December of this fiscal year was about 14% down from previous year. Which is, obviously we don't like that. But in terms of like our budget for the year, the budget that we wrote out for FY19, we had enough of a carryover from last year to where we can still look at our budget the way it was written and feel comfortable with it. Now, if it continues to be, 14% down for the year,
That's gonna be bad.
next budget year, there'll be a significant change. But we're still looking at enough carryover from last year to where we can proceed with this year as planned. So that's kind of like where we are. So even though revenue's down, it doesn't change anything until really next year.
And and for those of you that are new, unlike the city budget where at the end of the fiscal year they gotta spend it or they lose, type thing, hotel motel tax always stays put. It does not go into a slush fund or anything like that.
You don't use it or lose it?
No,
Rolls over.
It just rolls over.
it just rolls over. So that's where we have some of the surplus.
Luckily, like fiscal year 18 was the best hotel motel tax revenue that I have records of. So luckily that gives us enough cushion to where we can, feel okay about this present budget year. But like I said, next budget year might be different. So
Well, the good news is you've got 10 months of this year to make a change.
yeah. So this year, we still got a lot of year left to see.
Yeah.
And this is just, that was first quarter.
Right.
Yeah.
Who knows? But that said, we still are ahead of fiscal year 17. It's just that FY 18 was bonkers for whatever reason, for hotel motel tax. So to give you an idea of like what the groups that just presented, like they're like in, I have to make sense out of this real quick. Like their requests totaled about $20,000. My PowerPoint presentation.
Very nice.
So we, in the line item of special events, we've got $19,000 left in that category in the budget. Like they're asking for, all of them, as is, they're asking for a total of 20. I put 3 down here, that's what Bluegrass typically has been requesting this. They haven't submitted their special event request in. But they're at the end of the budget year. So including them into that number, that totals out about $23,000. Now, obviously that is more than this line item, but there's always the option of, it's just a matter of requesting from Leroy for me to move money from the marketing category that we have.
Right.
There's a lot of flexibility in that, so don't be scared of that number. That's just a matter of, moving from one budget category to another, in which we can.
And with that marketing fund, because that's, the Oklahoma Born and Branded, she's specifically asking for $2,000 for a billboard.
Mm-hmm.
So does that make sense? Like the
Yeah.
2,000 basically just come from marketing versus just a general event support?
Yeah, sure. There's the categories of like special events and marketing. We could look at, especially the Born and Branded and Red Brick Nights. The way they have their kind of like marketing, sponsorship packages kind of specified out like that. We could look at maybe taking those items. They could fit out of the marketing category if we wanted them to.
Okay.
So don't be like think more in terms of just their specific requests. If the board voted to fund all these requests at those amounts, I could take that to Leroy and we could make the budget categories be okay with that.
You make it work.
Okay. Is there any other than OIVF but you have on there, are there any other events that typically happen and ask for funding that have not done so?
Nope.
The only one we are sort of anticipating, but for the last 2 years, they've not turned anything in, is Little Britches Rodeo.
Yeah.
I thought they did.
A couple of years ago they did, and then last year they just never turned anything in.
And I've met with Ginger
So-
from Little Britches, and she's supposed to be giving me some advertising packages, some options. And again, we could take that that could come from the marketing category.
But the thing is, they gotta turn it in.
Right.
We
Yeah.
can't go chasing
I thought
everybody.
they showed up at council.
Huh?
I thought they showed up at
I
council
don't
at
know.
one point.
But they've not, I know last year, and I know the year prior, so.
Maybe.
All right, with that information in hand, let me get my list here. Not bad, 10 to 7, guys.
My watch is telling me to stand up.
Hey, I agree. If someone wants to stand up and take a quick break. Okay, so it's how I would like to do this. I sort of have this. I've been reading this, I'm tired of reading these. The first one I would like to do would be Red Brick Nights. To me, that is one of the easiest ones. We have supported them every year. I would like to move the money to be marketing instead of special events, since it is a sponsorship.
So we would just be a gold sponsor?
I would like to ask Justin to get us to be one of the, because of the in-kind stuff we give them, and some of the stuff they have in the gold sponsorship we really don't use, and some of the stuff they have in the big sponsorship we use. We don't necessarily get on stage, but I would like to make sure the logo is printed on signs and banners or printed materials.
Yeah.
It is on the gold, on stage banners. Logo on the stage banner.
Yeah, but they have
Yeah.
the signs and banners.
But they have signs and banners too. And then the only other thing would be, you know, we don't need the free vendor space, so I'm not worried about that. And the social media recognition.
And on their website.
So that would be the only thing I'd ask Justin to do. And then the other thing we need to do, did you talk to James
About, what are we talking about? Sorry.
about what you and I and Leroy talked about?
Oh, yeah, since James is gonna be on city council, we will, the city attorney would have to work with James on how, like, in terms of, you know, setting it up to where there's no conflict of interest, basically, in terms of like a city check going towards an organization where a city council person is, you know, that legal thing.
Can't go to his company, has to go somewhere else.
Yeah, so with Randall or the next attorney, they'll have to sit down and figure out, so it would have to be worked out before.
But the event itself is solid, so
Yeah.
I would like to see the money come out of marketing.
Yeah.
So did you just make a motion?
Yep.
I feel like I second it. I second that.
So just for note-taking's sake, like specify your motion one more time.
Do we support Red Brick Nights with the $2,500 requested, but it comes out of the marketing account instead of the special events line item.
With the condition that we
Yeah,
are a
direct.
platinum sponsor.
Yeah.
Is that what you wanted?
Yes.
Full platinum sponsor?
Yes.
But they're giving up some things like the booth space and some other
Yeah,
things
yeah.
that they don't need.
But we get, you know, with what the police and the city in-kind stuff and
Yeah.
and I just,
I'd say it's probably a wash in terms of
Yep.
what the city provides. as
to
being
what,
a-
the couple
a
additional
platinum
things
sponsor.
we would get.
So would we pay the platinum amount or the
No, we
25?
paid the
No.
2,500.
The in-kind would balance
The
that out.
in-kind would offset.
I second that motion.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. 2,500.
Just right
No, I've got them. Trust me, I lost. Fireworks show. I don't know what I did with it, but it's,
Yeah.
I mixed him in.
I don't know, the loading time.
Fireworks show, I think we ended up only giving them 4,000 last year, but to what they bring in is just a no-brainer.
Yeah, I think so.
And so, can I get a motion to give them 5,000?
I'll make the motion.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
One thing that, a comment that Leroy made to me was that most cities who are, you know, involved in a fireworks show have to spend a gargantuan amount of money
Yes,
to
they
do
do.
it.
They do.
So this amount of money from the CBD or the city is It's super small,
Yeah.
compared with it would usually
And
cost.
and it's one of the better fireworks shows in the state.
Yeah.
I wish they could make more money off of it for themselves, but
I almost feel like they could shorten it and it would still be just as awesome and not cost them as much.
did you meet Calvin?
Yeah, I could tell. That's-
She's not gonna.
Just saying.
He just wants to break even. He's
He does, you know,
When you get to know him, he'll call you, hey, come over, we're gonna have hamburgers and blow up stuff in the backyard. Look at
they do a really good job. It's,
Yeah, I read
It's-
past them all.
it's a big windfall for the city of
It
Guthrie
is.
for that weekend. Do we know when Little Britches is around then? Is it after the fireworks show or is it the same weekend as the fireworks show?
Oh, I always forget. I think it's
Well, I
the
hope
week
it's
leading
not
up to
the
it, I
same
think.
weekend, because we got a lot
Am
going
I
on.
wrong? The week afterwards?
It's always around the 4th, one year they started on the 4th of July.
I'll look it up while you guys are
Okay.
talking.
Because they had a bunch of people spill over for the fireworks that year, didn't they?
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah,
sure.
I think so.
Okay, third one. I've taken the easy ones first in case you haven't figured this out.
Yeah.
89ers. I have my thoughts, I'll let you all. Kaylin, go, you're ready to jump on this.
I just have a lot of emotions about 89ers. It's 90 years. That is like literally the legacy event
Yeah.
of our community. I was questioning some of the figures on the forms. Where am I? $6,000 for advertising. I know they're doing newspaper ads and TV talk shows. I'm assuming they're not paying to do talk shows, do we know?
They still charge you. but I
They
don't
charge
know
to be
about
on those.
them.
I mean, I know that stuff can add up
I
quickly.
know he said Fox 4 charges them 2,000.
Okay.
See, remember he said they're paying them, so they're not gonna promote them on their
Oh, he did say that.
stuff.
Last year when Andrea was here and they were looking at trying to get more into TV, one of the discussions that came up was advertising versus trying to get on the advertising people could not tell the news side what to put on the television.
Right. I'm also, the vendors, $2,500. What does that mean? Vendors pay them to come, so what does that mean?
I
They
don't
paid
know.
the electric, and he was talking about the $1,100 that, or was it $2,500 to put in the new plugs?
It's
There
1100.
is, yeah, it said like 1,100 for
So
the
he's got
5-day
that down
plugs.
to separate.
Maybe that's in the 2,500.
Maybe.
Didn't clarify.
I mean,
That would make total sense, honestly.
I just was curious, I mean, vendors pay a fee to come, they had 21 food trucks last year, that's not even regular vendors. So that, I just didn't understand that figure, and, I don't know.
So
Everything else
are they
is
not
just
charging the
personal.
food trucks for the
They,
electric?
It's usually, the fee covers the electric that they'll use.
Hopefully, unless they got a lot of heavy duty fryers or something in there, you can easily burn up $100 in electric real quick. But I don't know what they're charging for their spaces either.
Yeah, I don't know.
well, the question I was asking Bob was, he does not have any of his income here.
Yeah, that was.
And they charge for chuck wagon. They make money off the carnival. They make quite a bit of money off the carnival.
Mhm.
And that's,
And they make money off the food trucks. I know that, or
I
off,
know that this is post-event, but did we get a post-event from last year?
yes, we did.
Okay, so what were those figures? What was the income?
I know we've got, I mean,
I think it was.
but they actually, I think they netted last year about 10 or 11,000, but that did not include the, carnival. They were unwilling to share that.
The carnival was at least 10
Carnival was 24,000 last year, somewhere in that area.
profit. Right, that's what I'm saying.
But who gets that profit? The
They do.
Carnival?
The Legion keeps it.
Or
Legion keeps
The
it.
Legion keeps it.
So this is one of those few events that they do a fundraiser and
They make money.
to
Right.
make money for them to continue their
For-profit.
operations.
Right.
It's their 1 year.
And the other thing I just want to point out, keep in mind, there's a lot of in-kind services supplied by the city on this event.
Lot.
A lot. Probably, I asked Leroy the other day, and I'm gonna say probably close to 25 or 30,000. Because they have to put policemen at the carnival grounds every night for 5 nights. They have policemen patrolling
Yeah.
the streets and the parade. And then what Kenny and his crew does, just blocking off streets, picking up garbage, doing all that kind of stuff. The one expense I don't see here that I seem to remember is, I thought we metered them for water last year.
I don't know.
Because they've gotta hook up water for health reasons on all the food trucks.
Maybe that's where.
And I thought that was like about 5,000 or 6,000 last year.
I have no idea if I can ask.
Chuck Wagon, depends on how they manage it. They should make money, they don't.
They
And I
don't
think that's
charge
what he
for
was saying, like he was like having Byron be the entertainment, like trying to make some changes that will boost ticket sales this year.
$12 is pricey for a Chuck Wagon. I mean, it usually, when I first came to town, it was $8, $7 or $8.
Well, and we all still go to it every year, one
Yeah.
way or another.
Yeah.
If you combine that with, high quality music, that's a pretty cheap ticket for
Yep.
VLAN
The
music.
3,000, for us to
Yeah,
give them
exactly.
3,000 is really nothing, guys. It's, for the traffic it brings in, other than when it rains or blows away the tents, like we seem to have gotten the last 2 years.
Right.
I think it's a
remember-
lot better investment than the goat deal myself.
Yeah, I remember a couple years ago when it was 70 degrees out, the parade crowd went from the temple all the way to the post office. And I mean, then you were talking 5 and 6 deep, so the 3,000 is not a bad investment for us, guys. It really isn't. Now, is their bookkeeping a little? Yes. Are the report? Yes.
Well, my thing is, it's not that we're not giving them 3,000, we're giving them like $40,000.
Well, but that's where, again, maybe we go
And
just
no other legacy event comes close to that kind of support.
Well, but I don't know if we've all raised, I'll just throw my 2 cents in real quick, because I raised 2 kids here from kindergarten all the way through high school here and college, but they always went to it. I mean, they were at the parade, at the carnival, I mean, all the kids are. And so there's a trade-off for that. That's the thing that we as a city try to do, is build a community that makes you want to move here and stay here. And there's a hard sunk cost to that. Okay, what is the cost? Stuff like this. That's the cost. The Red Brick Nights, the 89ers, just the different events and
And
functions.
yes, 30,000, 30,000 is a lot of capital for the city to spend to provide security and services and everything else. I'm not gonna say it's not. But the number of visitors it brings to town over the course of 5 days
Yeah.
And years.
probably far outweighs the 3,000 we're gonna give them to help promote it. Again, I would think for 3,000 and all the in-kind services, we just need to ask them for the biggest sponsorship possible or whatever, and
That's what I'm
the
curious.
logo should be very prominent on anything they put out, and not something.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And how has that been in past years?
We have usually just paid towards their advertising.
and
Well, their marketing is very hit or miss because they use different people every year. They try to just get it for free, which usually means not as high quality.
right.
But there have been years where it was really awesome, and then years where it's just someone who doesn't do it for a living did it, and so there was no real.
And then is Robert just not coming into the picture? Because I remember they've come to council a couple different times, 89 or 7. It wasn't Robert.
He's new chair. Well, he's not new to
It was a
Legion.
lady.
He's the new chair.
Yeah.
He's this year's
Okay.
chair.
So they have a new chair every year?
Not necessarily, but he's.
But he's the new chair now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Trying to make a change. And he's vested in this community too.
Yeah, for sure.
You know.
I mean, y'all can vote it down, you know,
No, well,
for
no,
the
here's, I
in-kind
motion
services,
to
but I'm
approve.
just,
I would just like to see more concrete, transparent numbers, and I'd like to see, they're the most supported event. I'd like to see some continuity with their marketing, with their printed materials. It is the biggest event that Guthrie has. So many people assume that it is a city event. They don't realize that it's a Legion event. So if that stuff's not on point, it reflects on Guthrie more than any other event that we have. And that marketing nerd matters to me. So that's, I'm all about, like, I wanna support the event. I just think that, if they would let us help them make it better.
Maybe approach Robert with that. And
well,
just,
here's another
you know.
option, here's an option we have available to us through when we rewrote the funding program a couple of years ago, which took, 6 rewrites and ultimate things. We can give them 1,500 now. And then after the event, when they bring us the post-event report, we can give them the other 1,500. It is in the guidelines that we can give them, we can split it 50-50.
I mean, I'm fine with giving them 3.
Okay.
I think you hit him up with what you said though. Say, Robert, you're the new chair.
Here's the thing, I've tried, and multiple people tried to say, like, we want to partner, we want more of a voice. We want to be able to take more ownership of this as citizens and community volunteers that have done this for years with you guys, and we were shut down. And that's all I'm gonna say about it. I will motion that we approve this $3,000. That's it.
Do I have a second?
A second.
I have a motion and a second to give 89ers or the American Legion $3,000.
I'll go with you.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Do you think there's any possibility of doing
3,000 it is.
some heat guideline to how we are development and marketing materials?
My pile's getting smaller.
Because I've made a couple of
Okay. Let's take the big one.
like inch requirements or something.
So goats.
Let's talk about goats.
I can tell you why they left Falls Valley. My uncle runs the fair board down there, and they just wanted a bigger area.
So no skeletons in the closet, they're not hard to work
No,
with, they just
no.
wanted a bigger space,
Right.
okay.
I make him.
I am intrigued by this, like, I am intrigued that people are gonna spend 20 grand on a boat.
I'm gonna be that,
And I'm gonna buy a ticket to this thing to
Yes.
see these weird goats.
You don't
Actually, you don't have to buy a ticket. They're free.
They're free, and I could use some help in the concessions that weekend.
Okay, well, I'm not gonna.
Body slamming goats.
You are nothing if not an opportunist.
And I do think they have a convincing, I'm convinced that, that it could bring hotel dollars because everyone travels so far.
And they do have listed quite a few. They've got 55 hotel rooms at 2 nights. So they've got that they're estimating 110.
Right, and so to me, that's the biggest, like,
I am nervous about giving a brand new event $5,000.
Well, and let me ask you a question. Why don't they have a federal ID number yet? And they've been in business for how long?
Yeah.
how many events did it say that they've had before?
They've had a bunch at Falls Valley.
Yeah, like 22 or whatever, what did it say?
I am just nervous about giving a brand new
Oh,
event
yes, 22
$5,000.
years.
They've done it for 22 years, and that's 3 events per year for 22 years.
69.
So I feel like it's easy to check into and see, is this something that people really come and do and spend money
I
on,
can
and will we
get
get our
numbers.
investment back with hotel tax dollars?
Well, if they're going to do, of all these 6 events, if they're honestly going to do 110 nights of hotels, that's the largest of
Yeah.
the 6.
Yeah.
And of the, I don't know of all the events, but like this event, it seems like the folks that they're gonna bring in probably have a considerable amount of expendable income.
Does seem like it.
So even if it's a smaller event, like,
They have
you
more
know,
money.
they might be spending more money than, you know,
Right.
the average person.
Well, they're gonna eat, they're gonna sleep.
And then,
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
and it's only 14% of their overall budget. That's not, I mean,
and I have a question, can we approve it because part of the funds are going into 2020 fiscal year, or do we have to take that up under, do we give them part of the money and then?
What's their dates? Or they have one in September?
the last one is in October.
It's the last
Oh,
one.
it's October, so yeah, that goes to next year.
Well, but we always fund the request for bluegrass.
But that's because they do all their advertising before.
Right, so it depends on like how, like if the I keep calling them the goat people. If the OBGA,
The goat people.
I'm not a farmer person, that's a. See? But if they're, you know, if their advertising throughout the year is, you know, predicated on this, then I think they kind of have the same justification as funding a request for bluegrass, which is out, you know, the next fiscal year. So
I know they advertise in all the Border Goat magazines, because I was at the Fair Board meeting when they were getting all that situated, so they do advertise nationwide.
But out of curiosity, how do you justify, just in my own 2 cents, $5,000, someone bringing 260 visitors versus 2,500 to a Red Brick Nights that's bringing 25,000?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay?
Well, Red Brick
That's
Nights,
crazy.
a lot
But
of
maybe
people.
it could only
But at
bring
Red
in
Brick
that many
Nights
because
also-
Paul's Valley was
Everybody's
smaller.
from here.
Red Brick Nights doesn't equate to the
And
hotel
everybody's from
dollars that
Yeah,
they
the
split.
hotel dollars
That's
is
true.
gonna be way.
Well, but they also said a lot of these people bring their trailers.
There's
I mean,
only
it
4
says on
trailer
here,
spaces
where-
down there.
How many?
4.
Is that it?
Well,
said
if the
they would
rodeo-
only-
If the rodeo guy gets in, they can have 14, but.
He was saying, the goat people were saying that. Now you have me saying
Stop
The
it.
goat people, the goat guy.
Well, he was saying everybody that comes in, they would need at least 2 hotel nights. He was pretty
Yeah.
adamant that they would
Yeah.
be staying as well.
Okay.
That's what they liked about Guthrie besides our larger arena, is that we have so many newer hotels.
And you gotta remember, they're not bringing in a big horse trailer, they're bringing a trailer about that tall.
Yeah, they're bringing little
A goat-sized trailer.
Goat trailer. They're goat people.
They're goat people. This is on TV.
I would,
3
events.
I have to agree
throughout
with,
the year, so if
I have to agree with Brian that I would question the no federal ID, and we would have to check on that as to why there is, because if,
Is it because they're nonprofit? No.
yeah, but you could still have a federal ID for nonprofit.
Yeah. I would, yeah.
Maybe they just didn't.
Well, you
And
have to
how
have a
did they-
federal ID.
And I guess the
Yeah,
question is,
we're
how did they
asking.
run with no federal ID down in Pauls Valley? So my question, Justin, is do we need a federal ID?
Oh, yeah, we have to have it to
So-
check, but that's a given.
I guess my thought would be, like Brian said, well, how do you justify it? I would be in favor of giving them like $1,000 a show.
So 2,500 or 2,000.
Yeah. For a first year, again, keep in mind, this is a startup event
For Guthrie, it started.
for Guthrie, but we need to, we can then see after we get the after event report, what do the numbers really do? How many hotels do they really?
Did it
Well,
help?
wait, so to specify, because they do, each weekend they run 3 events. So when you say $1,000 an event, you're not saying,
No.
No,
because that would be
1,000,
6 total.
no, 1,000 for the May
It's-
show,
Okay.
1,000 for the July show, 1,000 for the October show.
It's
$3,000.
considered one event because each day leads into the next
Yeah.
grand
Which would be
finale
a
on
3.
Sunday.
Okay.
And I'm not even sure
And Friday, they're just.
that
setting
is
up.
more than I would really wanna give them. but I'm open to, you guys, I'm open.
I would definitely question the federal ID number though.
And I would say the award would be subject to them producing a federal ID.
Yeah, additional.
Yeah, I can't issue a check
Without
without giving a federal ID, so that's not,
And
you
with
have
it
to
being
worry about that.
nonprofit, they can't do it as a sole proprietorship, obviously, right?
I wish it was an event that brought in more spectators. but-
Well, I agree.
Well, that's why I wondered if maybe just because they were in a smaller venue, that maybe they would have more here.
Well, Paul's Valley wasn't very centrally located either.
Well,
Maybe they'll get more.
12,000
Maybe
here.
they'll get
Well,
more.
they're on their budget.
To the goat show.
Logan County.
Going to the goat show. They're gonna get us.
I'm gonna go.
So it kind of
I'll
is
go
a
to the
nice,
goat
we're
show.
like, we'll pay for you to be at Logan County Fairgrounds and see how it goes this year, and then maybe next year we can do a full
And
5.
that's right, because they are renting both buildings, I forgot about
Yeah.
that.
And I
was
think that's
fixing
fair
to
for
say
a
that's only
new-
1,500
A
bids.
new event that's coming that's, I mean, I don't know what the goat market is.
I don't wanna set, I mean, I'm being
It's not
kinda new
just
to
any
this
goat
board.
market, it's the Boar's Show Goat Market.
I'm not a
And
goat.
that's a
Not
distinction
barbecue
that you
goat.
have to be
That
aware
is-
of.
Not a goat.
Those are $40.
Being new to the board, have you guys had this experience in the past where you've awarded less than they asked for? How does it work with,
We've turned them down before.
Oh.
How does it affect morale?
You awarded these.
yeah, like relational,
Leroy got the phone call the next day, but that was okay.
You've given 89ers less than they've asked for in the
We
past.
lived with it,
This board has.
yeah,
And what was the repercussion?
There wasn't one.
No.
there was one.
How are you gonna
It's free money, I
repercuss
guess.
against someone giving you something free?
I mean, you could choose to have it somewhere else.
You know, a question when they're doing their presentation would be, is if that we didn't feel comfortable donating to your cause in this particular, because you're new to here, would that prevent you from coming to Guthrie? And if the answer is yes, then you really gotta weigh out if you want them in the first place, you know?
Well, perfect, you were asking, did we turn people down? When Little Britches first approached us, well, 3 years ago or 4 years ago, Little Britches wanted something like 100 free hotel rooms a year.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, they want something crazy.
That's where you're making.
Well,
We had to ask them, do you know where you're coming, what town you're in? I mean, because they were used to being in Colorado Springs or something, and when they came down here. So, yes, we have said no to people, yes, we can say no. Like I said, we're an advisory board, it goes to Leroy, and Leroy would,
What they'll do is they'll go to council, they'll go to Leroy, they'll go in front of council, and they'll spill their case to council, that's what they do.
so, there are still alternatives for them. I mean, to ask for the money, it just, we're an advisory board, so that's why it all goes to Leroy after we're done.
And I can't speak for council, but I'm pretty sure that they wouldn't go to $5,000.
I mean, that's,
I don't think that would happen if they were in front of council, but again, that's just a personal opinion.
I agree, I think this first year, if we just do the 3,000 total and that will pay for their rental fee for the fairgrounds, that
think
seems
that's
fair.
That pays their, their cost of, on the front end.
And that keeps the money right here in town.
Yeah.
I think that's beyond fair.
And then if it's a big deal, hell, you can up
If
it.
takes off, great, if
I
not.
mean, that's one of the biggest asks.
Can I get a motion, please?
So
You
what's the
motioned. It was your.
No, I will make the motion that we give them $3,000 for the purpose of essentially paying the fairgrounds rent
Seconded.
for this year. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I think 3,000 it is.
Going to a goat show.
Going to a goat show.
Going to a goat,
Have you had
no, really, I
fun?
am going to that goat show.
I'm going to the goat show
Picture
too.
taken with the $20,000.
Can we request a table?
That'd be the best thing we ever did, right? Go there, go, damn.
Not
Well,
Stop trying to get yourself.
Justin, that's a valid, that's not an all bad
I did.
idea.
We're gonna have
Is,
tables, goat show.
can we set up our Welcome to Guthrie
Yes.
thing
goat show.
down there for the goat
Well,
show.
I've already talked to them about that.
Okay,
We ought to be able to set up our welcome to Guthrie at
We
everything.
do.
yep.
We are.
Yeah,
We should
Red
get
Brick Night.
custom made Guthrie stickers shaped like a goat.
What?
goat
The
still.
ladder,
Say
Okay,
Guthrie, you're the real goat.
20 after 7.
Not
not doing bad, but down to 2.
Huh?
Down to 1.
Hey, you just saved enough to approve this next one for free.
Do we want to do rodeo or do we want to do music?
Music.
Music.
Or motion.
Second. I was impressed with, she seemed to have ready answers for all of our questions. She seemed very organized, professional. The fact that it kind of like fell apart, they restructured it, put it on, it was one day and they still had 2,500 people. It's pretty impressive.
I was impressed with the creativity of that idea of partnering with local restaurants. If they
Yeah.
can pull that off, I think that'll be amazing.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
That'll be
That'd be
amazing.
cool.
And I am intrigued, I was worried before she said it's not at the flats, I was worried how close it is to Bluegrass, but I really kind of love the idea of it being in downtown. I just kind of want to wait and see what happens, because it's 3 days of, but you know, they do it for 89ers and other things, so.
Well, your problem with the flats is that's the first weekend they allow the campers in.
True. Well, that
So
would
you
bring
really
the
couldn't have
campers
done,
possibly
try to
up
do a show while they're bringing campers.
Well, she's actually calling it a festival.
Yep,
Which, you know, a 3-day deal, that would be awesome if it works out. And, you know, you'd be right in the,
Where is
That
the
fits our
big
world.
stage gonna be? Where is,
I totally don't know. I have no idea.
what seats 1,000 people indoors?
Indoors.
indoor.
Isn't that what she said?
No, it's gonna be
No, she's
outdoor.
talking
Oh,
outdoors.
Then never mind.
You know, right in front of the publisher's deal was one before.
I thought
Yeah.
she said indoors though.
That's what I thought she
No,
said.
she's saying there's a large stage outdoors, and then she's saying that there is independent paid tickets in indoor locations.
Indoor.
Right, but she said, what, for the indoor ticketed one,
Yeah.
2,000 people, 2,000 tickets.
There's nowhere here that'll hold that other than the.
So it's kind of like in
Right.
Gentlemen of the Road, when that deal happened, you had little knockoff
Yeah.
things going on in the different empty buildings or places.
There can't possibly
that
be
people
anywhere.
push.
I think that's gonna be, I think that large one she was talking, would be outdoors, and then
It'd
there were
have to be.
individual.
Little knockoff things going
Yeah.
on.
Okay.
The fairgrounds will hold 1,200.
How many, can they do it at the stadium?
That's between them and the school, I guess.
I mean, can that hold 2,000 people?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it seems
Where
like they
at?
have some kind
The
of
Rock.
plan.
Stadium?
they're not gonna, it's football season.
They'll
Oh,
hold-
yeah, that
My
is-
understanding, they'll hold 10,000 in there.
Yeah, they're not gonna, they're
I
not
just
gonna
can't
give up
think
the
of a
football
building that
stadium
big.
for, during football season for a concert.
Mm-mm.
I was a little disappointed that they couldn't spread the love throughout, like east of Division as well. That's something I always keep in mind, especially when James is in the room. I know that it creates a little bit of competition and division between the town itself. Businesses, division if you will.
Just like-
Businesses on east of Division versus west of Division.
And it's the same way with Red Brick Nights, and
Yeah.
it's all because of division, unfortunately. And it being a highway.
Would there be a way that somehow those businesses in the east end could be a part of what's going on?
That's what I would like
Sure,
to see,
why
some
couldn't
of
they?
them maybe
Yeah, I
work
mean,
on
we
some-
need to
they
find a
take
way
some
to pull the
plan.
whole town back together instead of, oh, they're having an event on the east side, but it's not flowing
They
over.
should be able to bring pop-up deals up
Keep
there.
in mind, if she can tie vendors to restaurants, you've got
That's-
2 restaurants on the east side. You've got Boomerang, you've got,
And who's to say there isn't
Mexican
more
place.
you got
collaboration
the Mexican
possibility there?
place.
Yeah.
You got the Southern Cooking in the old Roma's building on the, at the, so you've got people that are on the other
Yeah.
side division that they will have to.
Yeah.
You know, well, no, she can't do it. You're still dealing with the safety issue of crossing division, so you'd have to have
Yes.
highway patrol there.
I mean, they might have to do some sort of pop-up situation, but I mean, it's a creative
Yeah.
idea to begin with, and it
I was
seems
thinking
like.
if someone on the opposite side did something, not necessarily, I mean, in conjunction with, but not necessarily tied to, so you could have it on both sides of town.
Now,
And it's one of those deals that doesn't cost much to find out
No.
now
Two
since
grand's
we
a
are
drop.
paying,
compared to if it
is this
works
what you
out.
wanna take out of
Yeah.
marketing?
Yeah, this was the, well, but that was before we gave less to,
It's
the
a,
goat people.
because it's advertising on a billboard, that was all I was thinking.
Yeah,
Well, but look at the people she's talking about bringing in too.
Yeah.
And then my other question was, which this is the only one that I really didn't think to ask, because what are the and I know she said they get insurance and all that. Do they have to have an ambulance crew present?
They don't have to.
Okay,
We have one though.
okay,
But it's not required.
okay, okay. Motion.
Not a lot of towns do have those, we just don't have.
I motion to approve.
A second.
And are we giving them 2,000?
Yes.
Okay. Coming out of special event, new events, or coming out of marketing?
I guess,
What's-
I mean,
I think that's a
whatever
fair deal.
Leroy thinks, I don't.
You guys just have to figure that out.
Okay, $2,000 to Oklahoma Bound and Branded. I have a motion and a second. All in favor? She said 2,000, right? All in favor?
I.
Any
It's also only
opposed?
3% of their budget.
I know.
That's crazy.
Okay. Save the best for last.
You know, I just feel horrible about their water situation, because if it was the city of Guthrie, we have a finance board that could
we could fix that.
fix that.
I did not
We can't
realize,
with rural water.
I did not realize the fairgrounds were now part of rural water, even though I do remember them putting that big old meter out there. And
I don't know that they are part of, he said they
The
were.
fairgrounds and them are two separate entities, you gotta realize. That water
But
line
that's
goes.
city, but that's city of Guthrie property.
That, yes, and that water line goes right down the middle of that road.
Yeah.
And the water plants, you can throw a rock and hit him. So tell me how much sense that makes.
Well, I
But
know-
The fairgrounds is rural.
I know they put a meter box out in front of the water plant last summer. Cause I remember it seemed like it took them 2 months to build the thing, and then it kept flooding and everything else.
Right.
And you thought, do they not know how to put a meter box in to the
Took
ground?
3 weeks to replace a piece of pipe that long, so.
But, okay, here's,
Granted, they did it 6 times.
I have issues with the rodeo, because I don't think he'll do 11 events. I'll just go on the record and say it.
Why, have you seen them not?
Yes,
Yes.
Really?
yes,
What?
last year. Because you get to the summer, you get to the heat of the summer, you get to the 100-degree weather, all of a sudden, we don't do barrel racing because it's too hot for the horses.
That's where he's trying to pull people like me and you.
And-
in the summer.
He doesn't charge, so, you know, and so I just have issues with that he can pull together 11 events, because he's never shown us numbers for 11 events, and if you look at his thing, it doesn't show 11 events.
No.
And the only reason is I do check, I'm not a big Facebook guy, I'll fess up to that. But I will check when I start hearing stuff that, you know, and go down there and there's nobody down there. And I don't know that we ought to pay for, you know, just because Little Britches comes and hooks up to his hookups, or uses his arena to warm up or to practice, that's not something that's drawing people. Have any of you guys seen
They're
it?
already here.
Is Little Britches sponsor, are they doing it at Logan County or do they?
No, they do it out of Lazy E. And have anyone seen the trailers and the RVs the Little Britches kids bring in?
They're not plugging into a 30 amp plug. I
Yeah, they're
guarantee it.
bigger, they live better in those horse
So are there
trailers
any
than my
events-
house looks like,
Yes,
so.
they do.
Are there any, and if so, how many events do they for sure do every year, rain or shine?
3 or 4?
One that I know of.
He has 3 on the March calendar.
Oh, he's probably out there, you could probably ask him.
I mean, that happen every year, that without fail? Cause I don't mean, just because it's not a full 10, I don't think that negates, I mean, it's $2,500.
See, the guy does great things
Yeah,
I mean, you
with
don't,
his time.
is it not this,
I'm not sold on, I mean, and I understand it's City of Guthrie, and he has painted the thing, and he's put some bleachers in, and,
I'm talking about the people that he helps with his profits.
yeah, but if you look at even his 89ers poster for this year's rodeo, he's got like 5 different things he wants to raise money for. And one of them is, Dan Newton's daughter
No,
passed
that was
away.
last year's poster.
Well, that's, it's hard to say, are you doing it for veterans or are you doing it for cancer? I mean, I just,
So you think it's a pig in a poke?
I just would think, I mean, I don't have my problem giving them money, but I'd only, again, this is one, I'd give them $12.50 and then let them come to us in 6 months and say, okay, here's the other events I've done. And show us some numbers. Because if you look at his, there's not 11 events worth of recaps on this.
so this, but the.
I mean, his attendance is 600 people. And if he's counting helping Little Britches, and all that as an event, that's really not an event.
These ones that he has on.
His attendees is 1,750, I'm sorry.
Yeah. That wasn't.
I'm sorry, I apologize for that.
These ones that he has listed here, these are not guaranteed, these don't happen? Right on the front page? I mean, I know it's not 10 worth that he's got here, but like the spring and fall.
I think it really depends on weather, and I think it depends on if he can get enough people to sign up. You gotta get enough people to sign up for these events to make it worth doing the event.
Well, you gotta get enough people to bring goats in to do that event.
I understand,
And you're giving that guy more money.
I understand.
And he's bringing in 260, this guy's bringing 1,700. So he
Yeah, but I
says,
don't see 1,700 down there.
I think 1,700 would have to be the yearly total.
Right, it is.
probably, it'd probably be the whole deal.
Still,
Yeah.
But 260 is their whole deal.
260s
I'm
per
not-
show, so they're looking at almost 900 a year, still significantly less than 1,750 a year.
I can't imagine, it's just like she said, that he would write these down here and not at least do these.
Well, anticipated hotels to be used 3.
I mean, they seem a little like official titles, not like random events he's trying to put together.
He has a lot of sponsors, that-
Tommy, don't you do some sponsoring down there or what?
Where? With the rodeo arena?
Yeah. No.
Um,
But you see what's going on down there?
Every day I'm down there.
So what's going on? I mean, I'm talking about during these events, and is he doing the events?
He's doing a few,
I've
but
too.
I haven't seen anything super significant, and I sure haven't seen 1,750 people at one time.
Really?
Because when we put 800 people in to our event that one time, you couldn't get another car all the way up to Division. It was
No,
packed.
1,700 was the total.
Now, they do
But that's like
stuff-
a total for the year though.
Right,
Yeah,
but he's
if
doing
that's
a
a total
total
for the year, then it's feasible.
It's not gonna-
Have you been down there for the barrel race?
Now, he does
I
do
have.
it. I've
Yeah.
never seen a barrel race. I do know they help with the 4-H and they let them use the arena for their play days and stuff. So I'm sure that costs something.
You've been down there.
But if
for
you
one of
look
his
at his
barrel races?
hotel,
How
he's
many-
got,
How was it?
It wasn't like a super huge crowd, but they had lots of participants. So sometimes they don't have a big audience, but they have a lot of people that bring their horses
That
in
are
and do
there.
the barrel racing.
Yeah, because even the.
Well, that would explain why you don't see the people parked outside, because they've got their trailers in the back. I do know this, that those 4-wheeler trails he was talking about, and he didn't know what was going on with them. I saw the map on them.
Yeah, they're gonna cut him right off.
He's in trouble.
Yeah.
They're doing this through his whole.
Well, they're completely
arena.
around it too.
Yeah, and around it. So,
That was approved years ago.
yeah.
Still hasn't happened.
Well, it's kind of like that big building they built back there for the ATVs and the training center. They can't use it right now. So.
well, there's reasons why they can't use
Yeah,
it.
exactly. So how long is it gonna take them to get the ATV trails in? Will it affect him? Probably not this year.
And he was saying this BBR
I mean, that's a new thing, right, being sanctioned by them or.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that'll be an increase, hopefully, is what he's
Sure,
hoping.
sure.
And he has it on his Facebook right now, as far as promoting
I
it
mean,
with the flyer.
he does a lot for people supposedly, so.
And I'm pretty sure he was turned down last time he ended up in front of council last year.
Well, no,
Or maybe he was getting ready to end up in front of council and you
no,
guys
he never
approved.
turned in his paperwork last.
Is that what it was? That's
Yes.
exactly what it was.
There've been a lot of health
And then he showed up at city council
Then he
saying
showed up
we
at city
didn't
council.
we didn't approve his request.
Right,
And it was, he had never turned in his,
right. We had him go back and turn the paperwork in.
yes. And
That's
keep
right.
in mind, guys, this is his third time here to ask for money because he hasn't shown up the prior.
Two times.
Well,
Two
Well, I
times.
agree, Verla is right.
Well,
His
the
wife
last
has
time,
had
his
cancer
wife
and
was very
surgery,
sick.
he's had cancer and surgery last year.
We could probably extend some grace.
And I'm okay with maybe saying like, it has to be used for advertising or certain types of whatever, like show us what you're using it for. I am a little, with as much uncertainty as I'm hearing, like I would just,
So
I think
when
that
is-
that $2,500 for a year's worth of events does not seem
No.
crazy.
Do you have-
I just don't like how broad it is to say a year's worth of events. What does that mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you have the budget from last year? I forgot mine. What
That
did
was
we
it.
give? We bought his insurance last year.
Yes, it was around the same amount, like.
Was it?
2,000 or something like 2,500 or something, in that ballpark, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm with you. He's got to do at least these 4 that are in bold print on the bottom
There's
of
5
the
there.
opening page. Is there 5?
Yeah, the bottom line contains 2.
Okay, no, you're right.
But I mean, public, he's even got looking at trying to do a concert and movie night in spring and fall. You know, I mean, he was pretty tentative with what he was trying to get done.
He's
But
also-
y'all, I'm one vote, guys. I mean, y'all,
He's also trying
Oh,
to get
that's-
us to go over there
I believe
and do
that's
some wrestling
10.
and her do some things.
I think these are separate things.
Maybe.
There's-
yep.
Yeah, there's like more than one thing on each line, right?
Is
Am
there?
I
Yeah.
reading it
Yeah, there's
correctly?
3 on this third line.
Spring and fall 2019.
But I don't think anything where he's renting space or that's not an event that he's advertising should count as an event down there.
Say that one more time?
I don't think anything where he says Little Britches comes and parks their trailers.
Yeah,
and
I
rents
don't, that's
space.
not an event.
I don't think that should count as an event. I don't think using the arena for Little Britches to warm up or to, to train should count as an event.
Yeah, counting all these, I don't see that. I mean, I sort of, whenever he was mentioning that, I thought he was just talking about how it's growing and like
Yeah.
the presence there. I
I
don't
think he was
see,
just trying to show the overflow from where people are actually
Right.
coming and staying and they're eating in town and.
yeah,
so
I don't see Little Britches involved in any of these and this is
they're
all
not.
10.
They're not.
And we can easily verify that he does the events that he's saying he's gonna do. And 2,500 is not, a gigantic chunk of change.
We got it.
Money's there.
He's done,
Yes, we're not.
over the years, he's done an awful lot of work to keep that place from becoming just an abandoned field with rusted stuff.
Which is what it was when I moved here 6.5 years ago. I walked around there and it was so sad.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of changes since Jerry's been
Yeah.
involved.
And I think if there's truly any concern that this, I mean, what happens in this next year, in this next fiscal year is at least exploratory for us and that we'll know next year.
Yeah, you inspect what you expect. Just go to the shows, like the goat thing and everything else.
We're going to
Yeah,
that
because
show.
Kristen's gone to the goat show.
She wants to go see one of these $20,000 goats.
I
That's
am so
a-
curious.
I got a bunch of wood stake and bring them up to the brush.
Do I have a motion?
I'll motion to approve the 2,500.
Okay,
I'll second.
second. I have a motion and a second for $2,500 for military veterans rodeo promotion. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Me. I just, I'm not sold on it, guys, so I'm gonna.
Post it.
You're right.
Note that Mike. Little Grinch.
Grinch opposed.
Hey.
So does that mean that we just see how it goes this year and then?
I think
I think we should pay special attention.
I think there's some things that we can do, and we just monitor, we look for a better after-event report come next fall.
And that can also be us as staff doing a better job communicating with him throughout the year. So,
Or when you're driving by the fairgrounds, how many times have we done it? You just keep going.
I do it.
I do too. You know, instead you see something going, pull in.
So I do it, because that's when I get in my mind, when I hear that there's barrel racing, I'll go, okay. And I'll drive in and go, well, there ain't any barrel racing here tonight, so, you know.
Maybe they're all around back.
Well,
Yeah,
last year, the barrel racing last year it was open to people who wanted to, like, be there practicing, getting
Right.
ready for events. And so that depends on who's coming that night.
But again, he's got barrel racing as an event.
Because of it now being sanctioned by BDR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think he's anticipating a difference with that BBR.
All right, that being the last item on the agenda, we don't even have a staff report this month.
the only little detail I'll say is that we got a message from Lazy E, and so in this November, they've landed some big, massive, what do they call it? Oh, Lazy E thing. It's in the same,
It's
yeah,
not rodeo.
it's roping or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the same ballpark in terms of people as Little Britches. So it's another massive get for Lazy E. That's in November.
They already got our 10 grand, they ain't getting any more.
Yeah. It's a barrel championship of the world barrel racing futurities.
Oh.
So that'd be big.
There's your barrel racing.
So
Well, there's your barrel.
It's big.
Little Britches,
I can't do a picture and see wrestling.
Little Britches, they have about 1,800 horses for Little Britches. This one, they have 1,400. So it's in that,
Comparable.
yeah, in that range. So,
The only question, are we gonna set up shop for the timed event championship out at Lazy E?
Yes, yeah, the March, yeah,
Okay.
8, 9, and 10.
Okay.
There's 3 days and it brings tons of people
Oh, yeah.
and tons of money.
Yep.
So,
Yep, and if you wanna eat early on that Saturday, don't go to Stables at 4 in the afternoon. It'll be out the door.
What weekend is that?
March 8, 9, 10? 9 and 10, or?
8, 9, and
8,
10.
9, and 10.
And they even have something on the 7th, I think that's their Chuck Wagon thing that they sell tickets to. If anybody of the board would like to represent Guthrie, please let me know, to volunteer at the table.
Quick question, when we partner and give funds to people and we require that we have our logo on things, do we send them like a packet that's like, here is a vector of our really nice, you know, or are they having to like go on Google and try to,
we send it to them.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Is there any possible of adding specifications to that, like it can't be smaller than this size? But I mean, really,
You're
because
right.
we had that concern, and so that's actually something that's very common in brand kits and guidelines, is that it has to be a certain size, or it can't be smaller than, you know, an inch, or
Yeah,
whatever,
that's
however big it is.
For sure.
So that might be something to look into.
Yeah, because last year when I saw Bluegrass, I think our logo was like,
Yeah.
it was like, okay.
And I think that might be a good way to protect our investment in an event, so that it isn't just like, you know,
Yeah.
a microscope to see.
I think part of that might go back to like each individual event. You know, if we're supplying, you know, 0.2% of their budget, they're probably going to have a sponsor that's, you know, 10% of their budget.
Right.
So just being, you know, cognizant of like our logo is probably not going to be as big as.
Of course.
But yeah, I see what you're saying though, for sure. Yeah.
Any other comments or business? I am motion for adjourn.